So Steven Crowder is obviously an idiot, but here he is this time spreading vaccine disinformation. It's obviously not even, I don't even think you could call it misinformation at this point. But this is an incredibly stupid thing that I'm hearing from dumb anti-vaxxers. They're trying to say that vaccines don't stop the spread of coronavirus. And so it's the idea that, a vaccinated person who has the rare breakthrough case, which is becoming more common now because of the Omegatron variant. Not that it matters, because all it is the sniffles for vaccinated people. But the idea is that vaccinated person who got the breakthrough can spread the virus at the same rate as an unvaccinated infected person. But the problem with this is people who get vaccinated have a 90% lower chance of getting infected in the first place, and you can't spread the virus if you haven't been infected. So vaccines do stop the spread. There's obviously very high efficacy that's proved in this realm on multiple tiers. But douchebag Steve sent out a tweet saying, look, the vaccines are not working. They don't stop the spread. Creating more policies to increase vaccination rates, which are already higher than initial targets in the worst states, is not only unscientific, it's illogical. So it's completely scientific and it's completely logical. People who are vaccinated have 90% protection against infection, and it gets even higher when you talk about actually severe illness or being hospitalized. So all the people you see dying of coronavirus, I mean, it's not vaccinated people who are dying. Like 90+% of those people are going to be unvaccinated, because it's simply really hard to, not only is it hard to catch coronavirus if you're vaccinated, it's almost impossible to die from COVID-19 if you're vaccinated. I'm sure it happens here or there, but it's going to be statistically very insignificant and rare, because obviously the defense that your immune system gets from having the vaccine makes it so you're much stronger against coronavirus. So the full vaccine rate in the country is only 62%. I think California is like above 80. Certain areas like colleges are going to be even more, like 97 or something like that. But it's not enough at this point to where it's like there's going to be no overrunning of hospitals. That's the only worry right now, obviously, is that unvaccinated peoples are going to overrun the hospitals, right? And so here's a study that just came out in November. It says vaccine efficacy against COVID-19 was 91.3% and a 95% confidence interval. Through 6 months of follow-up among the participants without evidence of previous SARS-CoV-2 infection who could be evaluated, there was a gradual decline in vaccine efficacy. That's why the boosters are in place. Vaccine efficacy of 86 to 100% was seen across countries and in populations with diverse ages, sexes, race, or ethnic groups, and risk factors for COVID-19 among participants without evidence of previous infection with SARS-CoV-2. Vaccine efficacy against severe disease was 96.7%. In South Africa, where the SARS-CoV-2 variant of concern, beta was predominant, vaccine efficacy of 100% was observed. So what you see here is this one shows that it was over 90% just for even infection. Now, studies started to decline. Some of that had to do with the Delta variant. In terms of just infection alone, you still had like 90% protection against hospitalization or severe illness. But what ended up happening was a lot of studies started becoming really flawed, because they oversampled people who were vaccinated, and they were looking at areas that were heavily vaccinated. So it meant that you would have more vaccinated people and less unvaccinated people who got infected in those studies, and it would result in an oversampling. So there's a bunch of studies that show this high efficacy. And so if you take the vaccine, and it's really difficult if everybody was vaccinated, or even like the vast majority, it would be way smaller spread, because people wouldn't catch it. Your immune system would be able to kill it on sight, and you wouldn't even get infected in the first place. So it appears that people who are vaccinated who get infected can spread it at the same rate that people who are not vaccinated can, but somebody who's unvaccinated is extremely highly likely to catch the coronavirus, because it's very transmissible. Now you have the Omegatron variant coming around, and obviously for vaccinated people, it's still not going to impact them. Positive tests now for vaccinated people means absolutely nothing. Because of the vaccine providing the immune system with the boost, you now have this new variant that's very weak but way more transmissible. Now, unvaccinated peoples are going to have a different reality because they don't have that immune system boost that vaccinated people do. So they're going to have a more troubled time with it. But we're at a point now where the vaccines are obviously proving to be very efficacious, and we can see that, even positive tests don't matter, because if you test positive for COVID and you get the sniffles because you got the vaccine's done its job. Okay, I would say it's overperforming up until now. So it's absolutely scientific and it's completely logical. I don't know why we would take advice from Steven Crowder. I don't know what he knows of any kind about any of this stuff, but just completely bullshit. Someone said, unvaccinated Americans, please stay home and do not take up a hospital bed if you catch COVID. Many others worthy of that bed. And he says, why would a vaccinated individual need a hospital bed? So this is just, I don't know if this applies as a non sequitur. I don't know how this logically follows. But just because COVID-19 exists doesn't mean that all other illnesses, all other ailments just magically go away. So people are still having strokes, heart attacks, diabetes, and people are still going to break legs and arms and get into accidents and stuff like that. There's people with chronic illnesses even too, like cancers and stuff like that. Maybe autoimmune disorders. So people still need attention in the hospital. But people who need that attention, who are having a stroke or a heart attack or something, or have an accident, can't get attention in a hospital because unvaccinated people are taking up all of the hospital beds, especially in places like the ICU. And so, like I said, you have like almost 100% chance of protection against severe illness if you are vaccinated. It's really, really difficult to end up in the hospital if you're vaccinated because your immune system now has that boost to prevent it from getting significantly sick. So vaccinated people aren't going to be taking up hospital beds. They rarely, super rarely, very statistically insignificantly are going to be dying from the virus. All the people you're seeing, vast majority of them are unvaccinated because their immune systems don't have the boost that the vaccine gave them. So he's not saying that vaccinated individuals would be in there from catching COVID. They would be in there because they had a heart attack or a stroke, or maybe they had a flare up from their lupus or some autoimmune disorder, or maybe they got into an accident, something like that. They got into a bad accident or broke something and need attention. So this is the problem. And so this is why, if a hospital is at full capacity, if there is somebody who is vaccinated who has some other issue going on, like a stroke or something like that, they should be given priority over unvaccinated, hospitalized people because they did their job. They got vaccinated. There was no vaccine to prevent that stroke. And so they should be given priority. And, you should literally kick the unvaccinated person out if there's somebody else who's having some kind of really bad issue. And there's tons of people now who are suffering from ailments who can't get treatment or attention because of unvaccinated idiots. So obviously, again, just disinformation, lies. Steven Crowder is a huge liar. He even posted like a fake Hitler quote to try to make him look like a leftist. Just straight up. I don't know if it's still on his website or not, but I also saw his bullshit climate change video that he ended up taking down. I don't know if that's still deleted, but this guy's a massive liar and just a general piece of shit. And it looks like he's spreading more vaccine disinformation.